Today I thought I would bring you along while I have my breakfast and have a couple chats with you. There's a couple things that have happened this week. Sometimes we don't think that what we go through helps other people. But as I have conversations with people on a day-to-day basis, I realize that we in fact go through a lot of the same obstacles, just in different formats, I guess you could say. We all experience we all experience a lot of similar lessons. Sometimes we can help each other out a lot. I hope you're having a great day. Hold on, let me chew. I hope you're having a great day, and remember, even if you're going through a tough time, it's gonna get better. It always gets better. You just have to want it to get better. When we dwell on the sadness, or we dwell, and that doesn't mean don't feel it and don't give it space, but don't let it take over your life. Once you allow it to be who you are, it is harder to get out of it. It's not impossible, it's just hard. I feel like I'm going through a period in my life where I'm feeling a little desensitized, excuse me, to people continuously throwing themselves a pity party. It's lazy. When something bad happens to you, there's ways of going about it. And again, we're all learning, and I see that side of people. And I love people. I still give them the space to be who they choose to be. I just don't choose to partake in, oh, I'm sorry, over and over and over again. Because that's my sanity. When I offer solutions and you every day choose to go back to the same problem, you're not looking for solutions. You're not looking to fix it for yourself. You want somebody to come in your life and fix it for you, and life doesn't work that way. Sometimes we have to allow people to suffer because that's what they're choosing every single day. See anything in my teeth? Just ignore it. What are you gonna do? I've had conversations with people for weeks and tried to inspire them and motivate them. And at the end of the time, for me, because I always get to this point where I can no longer offer help if nothing is taken seriously, or if there's no action. It's like you're talking to a wall. Like, a lot of people that have come into my life have fed off my energy rather than work on their own and build their own. And I feel like I'm in a stage right now where I'm just desensitized to the people that I have offered help, and every single day and every time that I interact with them, they're still like dragging their fucking feet, miserable about like the smallest things. When somebody over and over says, I can't do this, I don't understand this, I don't know, blah blah blah, and every time over weeks you explain it to them and they still have the same mentality, they do not want to learn. They want to be babied. And I feel like I'm over that. I have gotten to the point where I understand that I can't save everyone. I can't help everyone. And I'm okay with that because I love humanity, and I am willing to allow them to figure their shit out when it is their time to figure their shit out. Sometimes before, I would get so consumed by the idea that people were suffering that I feel like I would feel sad all the time. But now we have to allow for every single individual to choose their path. And if every day when you wake up you choose a better way, that's how you get. What I was saying is that if every day you choose a better way, your life will change. If every day you choose the same route and the negative mentality, your life is going to stay the same. But I have talked about a whole different topic, and I just realized the camera cut off. So, let me eat well. I gather my thoughts. Another thing I was talking about was that lately and for a long time, I've been dealing with all the things that were implemented on us as children. And lately, I've been healing the side of me that knows it's okay to sit down and not be productive all the time, and knowing that my worth doesn't come from my productivity. Before, that was very ingrained in my brain because of how I was brought up. The way we were talked to always felt like we had to be doing something or we weren't worth what we were being given. And I just want to emphasize that I know that our parents are also human beings. When I have conversations with my mom about this, she's very willing to listen. And I know that there's a lot of parents that aren't willing to listen. And that's the problem that a lot of people don't want to change and don't want to see. Every time that my mom allows me to have that space to speak, every single time I let her know that I know that her intentions weren't bad. I know that her intentions were to make us hardworking because this world needs hard workers. That's obviously what she believed in, and that's her reasoning, and I 100% am okay with that, because we aren't here to blame people for what they've done. We're here to talk about the situation that hurt us, and if they are willing to say, hey, like, I see you, that's the bridge between the two. The idea of pointing fingers is just shitty. We're all fucked up. We have to allow ourselves to forgive, and we have to allow others the space. But again, it has to be a mutual agreement. It has to be a safe space to talk about it. If you try to talk to somebody and they're hostile about it, obviously you can't have that communication, and you have to decide for yourself how you're going to proceed for your health and for your healing. If somebody wants to stay behind, that is on them. When I talk to my mom about this, I always let her know that I understand that as parents, they parent as they were parent because that is all they had. Now we have more understanding about feelings and how they play big parts in somebody's life. A lot of chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of murder, like everything happens because all of this negative energy that has been passed down, because it has not been processed, it is in one being, and that is why violence is projected. They don't know any different. That's why I also understand chaotic minds and murderers, and I'm not saying that what they do is okay, the abuse, the everything. I understand it. Me having gone through what I went through, and to be here at 32 years old, knowing why I went through it, I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with it because I understand that the person that hurt me was hurt before. And the energy that bubbled up in their mom fed all of that, all of the emotion, the negative energy, the pain, the struggle that bottled up in our mothers literally are passed down to their children. Where do you think it goes? It goes into your children and into your diseases. All of that is manifested into a disease. That is why we're sick. That is why we have all these fucked up people in the world, because nobody decided until now to start healing their trauma, to understand that generation after generation after generation, it is this giant bubble of negative energy building in your family and every single family around the world and humanity itself. And where do you think it goes? It doesn't disappear. Energy is transformed, transmuted, but it doesn't disappear. We have to understand why it exists. So for it not to exist, we have to be better people. We have to choose to be better people. And again, we have to also be a vessel of understanding for those that came before us, and for those that had English, please, and for those who have hurt us. I'm not saying it's easy, because there's a lot of people that I'm still working through why they irk me. There's a lot of people that have hurt me in the past that I'm still working through that. It is a process. We have to allow the process, and we have to allow what feels good in the moment and what you're letting go in the moment to be. You're not a bad person because you're still working through your shit. And a lot of people will make you feel that way, because if you forgive somebody, you can forgive somebody else. No. Things process in our bodies, in our brains, in our hearts differently. So just give yourself that space. But let's soften the mood. I was getting too serious. And a funny story, that when it cut off, I said this. When me and my wife were living in North Carolina, when I knew that she was coming home from work, I panicked. You know what I mean? I would literally, if I didn't have every single thing that I wanted done by the time she got home, I started running. I lost my shit. I got stressed out. So I started feeling all this stress right before she got home. When she got home, it was not good. The one that I remember the most, and I think it's the funniest to this day, if I didn't fluff the mats in the bathroom, I will lose my shit. I felt like the house just felt dirty. My wife could care less. That's the funniest part. She didn't care. It was me. It was my own prison. And sometimes we do this to ourselves, to our brain, because we think that the house or wherever, whatever your space, whatever you're working on, whatever you're in, you have to be at a certain level. You feel like you have to be at a certain level to show up for other people. No, does that make sense? Let me rewind. The way my brain worked is, I worked on the cabinets all day, but she can't see that. So if she sees the mats in the bathroom, she'll think I didn't do anything all day. That's how my brain worked. Her brain worked, I get home, I step on the mats. She could care less, and my brain was so imprisoned by myself that 4 months, probably a year, maybe more, I did that shit. It was our first home together. So I felt like I needed to keep the house, like I was a stay-at-home wife. That was my job. That was my brain being chaotic. My wife could care less if I sat on the couch all day, but I didn't allow that, because my brain believed that my productivity was what made me worthy. That's fucked up. Now I have no problem leaving random shit everywhere. And again, it's a balance. And the reason I want to share all of this is because I want you to recognize your patterns, and what are the things that you don't like about yourself that have been ingrained in your brain as normal, but they're really not. When you are young and you aren't able to control things, when you grow up, you want to control everything. So all your shit is just like this. Like, so there's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of solutions. You just have to figure out if you want to stay in the problem or in the solution. And little by little, I've gotten a lot better. And it's because I realize I'm worthy. I am a great person. And it doesn't change if the fucking mats in the bathroom are fluffed or not. So if you are doing this to yourself, if you are imprisoned in your own brain, just allow the space to go back and see what the roots are, and to find worth in yourself without any of those things. And you'll get there. You will. We all do. It's a slow process, but it's a process. Look at how many years we were taught these things. They're not just gonna go away overnight. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself the space and give yourself a little extra love when things like that happen. Something else happened this week, which I felt really proud of myself. I'm not gonna go into very detail, but I'm gonna like kind of talk about it. So I said I would do something for somebody on Instagram that has a pretty big following. I did it because I read their books, and one, I thought it would be a really great challenge for myself. But at that time, I wasn't working on everything I am doing now, and I wasn't staying consistent on YouTube. And one of the other challenges that I'm working on is the fear of disappointing people. It was so hard to give this project up, and they posted a video about it, and it was very passive aggressive. I understood. Like, I 100% understood. In that moment, the beauty of it was that there was a shaman that my wife introduced me to years ago, and I followed one of her recipes and I posted it and I tagged her. In that post, she commented and she's like, the student always surpasses the teacher. And in this moment, when she posted that passive aggressive message towards me, that's what popped into my head. And I thought it was crazy how I could understand my side and I could understand her side, but in that posting, she said something around the lines of, use me as an example, the life is going to get in your way. If you say you're going to do something, do what you want to do. But in reality, she was building this whole lesson around details she didn't even know. And I wasn't going to respond because I told my wife, I've gotten to the point where I don't need to say my side. I find peace in who I am and the reasoning behind my truth. But I did say something because for me, I believe in giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. And I told her, I said, I'm working on this, so I want you to know that there's also beauty in my reasoning, because I started doing and being consistent in the things that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm choosing what I want to invest my time in. And I told her that giving up this project was hard because I know that it showed up in my life as are you going to stand up for yourself and not be afraid of disappointing somebody else and their path and their journey and what they want from me, or what I want from myself? Which am I going to choose? And she didn't like it. She didn't bother saying anything. So, it's, for me in that moment, I just find so much beauty in that. Because if it was me back then, I would be so hurt that they didn't say anything about my message, that they didn't see it. But the thing about me now is that as soon as I get what I need to say off my chest, the response or what the other person thinks does not matter, because I know who I am and I'm staying true to what I believe is right for me. And I respect how they felt, because they wanted something done for their own benefit, correct? But it was free. There was no time limit. There was no money gonna be paid. There was nothing. It was something done for her. Like, it was free. Like, so I felt like the entitlement in that felt a little just heartbreaking. But again, people are what they are and they'll learn on their own path, and I respect her. And sometimes you don't get the interaction you want, but that's okay, because as long as you know who you are and you know your reasoning, nobody gets to say that you're wrong. It is what it is. And I wish her nothing but the best. Like, don't get me wrong, like, my harmony side is like, I just want everybody to get along. Why couldn't you just say, oh, I understand, because I understand you, like, obviously we have that side, but I'm not losing sleep over the fact that somebody just took their interpretation of the situation and ran with it. It is what it is. So if you are going through anything like that, you're scared of disappointing somebody, but in exchange, I think that's how you say it, you're giving up your happiness and what would be better for you, it's not worth it. It's not worth giving up what makes you happy, or what the route that you want to take somebody else's route just to piggyback on what they want you to be doing. If you're going through anything, if you're dealing with any trauma, with any hard situation, keep going. Don't give up. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I know that it might be rough right now, and it might feel like it's never going to get better and it's never going to be better. But remember that the goal is to find love within yourself, and everything around you will match that. You are perfectly where you need to be right now, and you can always make it better the next day and the next day. And slowly you will be where you want to be, where you dream to be. But you cannot speed up this process, because if you do, when you get there, you won't know what to do with everything you have in front of you. I've heard it, I've seen it. If it's money, there's people that have gotten money and lose it all because they don't know how to cherish it. They don't know how to be grateful for it. You have the power to choose what life you want to live. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to my breakfast talk. Sorry for the way I look. This is why I mostly don't record when I'm home, because I always look a mess. But I'm learning to embrace it. This is who I am. This is what I look like at home. It's okay. But I'm bringing back my podcast outro because I miss it, and maybe one day I'll start that again, because I love inspiring people to be better versions of themselves. So remember, life is what you make it. Move your body, eat some healthy shit. If your body feels good, your mind will follow. Always be a beacon of what you want to receive. And if you woke up today hating any part of your life, you have the power to change it. You have the power to change it. Catch you guys next time. I love you.